And so we are going to start off with a prayer from Angela Potts Maganda, who is one of our certified spiritual counselors. And then we're going to have more. So please start us off, Angela.
Christine is asking me if I'm going to sing. I'm like, no. So grateful to place my hand on my heart, grateful to join with all of you. What a blessing, as Jennifer has just said, that we can come together in spirit. We are consciously opening our minds and hearts to be touched, to receive a shift in insight, more healing. We're so grateful for the unlimited, unconditional love of spirit, just loving us all the time. So again, we're declaring a willingness to be receptive, to be open, to make an offering of any distraction to what Jennifer will share in her message, and also what our other Jennifer will share in her music. So we're blessed by the Jennifers today. We're just so deeply grateful to receive the healing, and we go forward to share it freely with our precious brothers and sisters, the one. We're letting it be, and so it is. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen. Well, thank you, Angela. That was beautiful. And so grateful to have you back, Jennifer. Remind me, where are you living now? Where are you now?
I am still in Connecticut.
Okay.
Yep. So it's a beautiful, sunny, cold day, but it's sunny here.
Good. That sun makes all the difference. It does. Well, we're glad to have Jennifer Paskow back to grace us and bless us with her beautiful award-winning music. She is a singer-songwriter on a mission to uplift and empower children and their families. The theme of self-love and acceptance weaves beautifully through her music, as well as through her classes, workshops, and one-on-one healing sessions. Holding an inner aspiration to bring more love into the world, Jennifer created a self-love and empowerment program called My Radiant Heart. She also co-facilitates Let Your Voice Be Heard, a creative empowerment circle for girls and women to express their authentic selves in safe and supportive sisterhood. Jennifer's been engaged in energetic healing light work and building revolutionary communities of healing and transformation for the past decade. And we're so glad to have you back to be our musical inspiration today.
Thank you for having me back. I'm trying to get the camera. So I am going to sing. I'm going to use my harmonium today. I never shared the harmonium in public before. So I'm excited. I thought it was a perfect day to do this. I just recorded this song. So.
Oh, great.
Here we go. That's what I wanted to show you. I was moving the camera so you can see. It's such a beautiful instrument. Okay. Thank you for having me back. It's always so lovely to be here.
Spectacular. So beautiful. Thank you, Jennifer. So perfect. So perfect for our service here today. Yes, we can, I've been thinking about this lately, how we can feel so broken and we can feel such deep despair. And sorry, I just got a hair in my eye. Just want to move out of the way. Um, and we are not our body. Oh, it won't go away. We are not our body. We are not our thoughts that we think. We really are that Christ perfection. And until we're willing to know that it's true, remember that it's true, it's elusive. But our willingness really truly is all that's required. And it's amazing how much we can cling to the idea that there's something wrong with us, that we're not good enough, that we're bad. And this is absolutely the human condition. It truly is. And so it's not unique to any one of us. That's one of the things that people always tell me when I do an in-person retreat. People will come to me at the end of the first day and they'll say things like, Jennifer, I really, really thought I was the only one who felt this way. I had no idea that anybody else felt the way I do. And for me, that feeling that I used to have of this reminder, because of evidence I experienced in the world, this reminder that I was a failure, that something was just terribly, completely wrong with me, would be like a kick in the solar plexus, a kick in the gut. And I just feel horrible, horrible, horrible. And I'm so glad that I don't ever feel that way anymore. Nothing can trigger that anymore. And I truly believe that nothing can trigger it because it's not a belief I hold anymore. But it's also not a belief I hold about anyone else. So this is, for me, one of the most healing things in my life is, was I willing to accept the truth about everyone? And then when I was, I could see the truth for myself about myself. So I had to give up thinking that anybody else was bad or unworthy or even evil. And I've come to see that, and people take exception to this, and that's okay. I can have a conversation with people who totally disagree with me. But to me, this is not a belief that I have. This is a knowing that I have, that the perfection, the Christ within, is permanent. It's unbreakable. It's undiminishable. It is constant. It is always there. It's pre-installed. It's our true nature. That perfection, that beauty, that wholeness, that magnificence, that Christed nature. And being able to see that that is so, I think I was talking about this last Sunday, that it's true for Putin. It's true for anybody that you might think it couldn't possibly be true for. It is true for them. And we don't know what anything is for. And sometimes the things that seem to be against us, the things that don't seem to work out, the things that seem to be humiliating experiences, can actually be the things that are most helpful to us. So for instance, I was a part of the Agape community for a long time. That's where my Science of Mind practitioner license comes from. That was 4 years of work to get that license. And then that's where my ministerial license comes from. I was in ministerial school for a number of years. And I I really thought that I would be teaching and leading at Agape the rest of my life. That was my heart's desire. I didn't want to go off and start my own thing. I really didn't. But different circumstances happened that if I were to tell you about them, I won't tell you right now, not because I want to don't want to talk about it, but just because it's really not that interesting or relevant here and now. But it was things like uh, just a series of events that led me to realize that Spirit had been trying to tell me for years, go do your own thing. You're supposed to go do your own thing. And there's a part of my personality that's very social. There's part of my personality that could spend a year by myself in a cave too. There's both, and I go back and forth between them. And but there is a part of my personality that's very social, likes to organize and get people together, a networker, if you will, weaving people together and matching people together and bringing people together. And it feels so healing and so nourishing to me. And I had an experience where on my round of oral panels for my ministerial degree, well, I had actually already earned that. I guess it was my licensing. Um, it was a very bizarre thing. And the exact same thing happened to the only other graduate. What happened was that the panel of ministers that did the oral examination, one of the questions they asked me was, see if I can remember now. How do you feel about working on a team? And I said, I love it. I love working with different people and people bringing their different skills together and being able to do something so much greater than we could ever do individually. I love the social aspects of the team. And I said, the thing is, sometimes people on a team don't realize that it's not enough just to participate in the team. You have to actually do the assignments that you take on and complete them. And that can be one of the challenging parts of working on a team, is that sometimes people don't do their parts. And so that was my answer. And then after they went away and deliberated, they came back and they said to me, so we're not going to license you at this time. We don't feel you're ready. And the reason is because you don't like working on a team. And I said, but I said that I love working on a team. It's one of my favorite things. And they said, well, we didn't hear that. But those were the exact words I said. And the same exact thing happened to the other person who was up on his panel. They asked him, what do you like best about being in a minister? What do you think you'd like best? And he said, working with people. He said, now ask me what's the hardest part, and I'll say working with people. It's both the best part and the hardest part. And they said to him, we're not going to pass you because you don't like working with people. And my friend was on the board of Agape at the time, and one of the biggest donors that they'd ever had. So something weird was happening that day. And we just decided it was for our good. Even though it was a huge letdown after 10 years, 9 years of work. And here now they're saying that they're not going to give us our license because of something that we didn't even say. Very strange. So I took that as this is for me to work with mentally and emotionally. And then what they said, well, we're going to give you some extra work to do, and you complete that work, and then we can license you. So we both did our work and came to the part where they were going to oversee the work. This one minister had said she wanted to mentor me because she felt she could really support me, and she hardly made any time for me. She barely said anything to me over the next year or so that process was going on. I could hardly get her attention at all. And then we had a final meeting where she was going to decide whether or not I should be recommended for licensing. And so we sat down to talk, and this after a year of her basically hardly paying any attention to me whatsoever, or anything that I had done, all the hoops I had jumped through, all the different things I had done that took hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of my time and energy, which I was happy to do and were very fruitful for me. I learned, I grew, and I was of service in ways that were some of the most memorable in my life. So it was all good. But she said to me, she started to say to me, you know, Jennifer, not everyone is a minister. Not everyone really has the calling for a minister. Not everyone has that natural skill set of the minister. And I knew she was going to tell me, and you don't have it. I could feel it. And this fire rose up. It was literally Kundalini fire, just rose up through my chakras. And I interrupted her and I said, I am a minister. I already am a minister. This is my calling. This is my life. My life is my ministry, and it always will be. And I do not need anyone's permission whatsoever to be a minister. I already am a minister. And no one gave that to me. No person gave that to me, and no person can take that away from me. That is not possible. So you can do whatever you'd like to do, but I am already a minister, and I just do not need anyone's validation or certification or anything like that in order to be the minister that I am. And so she looked at me and she said, and that's why I'm going to recommend you for licensing it. And I basically felt at that point, you could just do whatever you want. It doesn't even matter to me anymore. Do whatever you want. And we were done and complete. And so I had one more incident where I was trying to do something at Agape, and it just fell all apart, not because of me, but because of the people who were supposed to be supporting me from the staff at Agape. And I just got, go do your own thing, girl. The signs could not be any more clear. Now, like a lot of people who would like to do their own thing, have lots of creativity and ideas and things like that to go and do something, we would like to have a lot of support, right? We'd like to have a lot of support. We'd like to have mentors and people holding our hand and supporting us financially, emotionally, and also just day to day to have lots of support as we venture out into new territory. And I certainly was that person. And then what happened for me next really was that my mother got, she was already ill at that point, but then she really moved into the last part of her life. And so I went to support her at that time. And in those last months of her life, my heart opened up so much. My mind opened up so much because I was in constant prayer, just constant prayer, handing over every thought that did not support my joyfully experiencing even my mother's transition. And so I was in a rigorous experience of living A Course in Miracles workbook lessons, moment by moment. And I was new to the lessons at the time. It was a time of absolutely letting go of the false beliefs about myself, about life, about everything. And it was a tremendous shedding of attachments, including, of course, the attachment to my mother being on the earth at the same time as me, in the form of my mother. And so the combination of these things helped me to develop a tremendous humility compared to what I'd ever had before. And what I discovered is that through humility, and I had other very humbling experiences, like an epic betrayal of a best friend, a boyfriend, a betrayal there. So it seemed, that's how I interpreted it at the time. Now I see those things as rocket boosters. They weren't betrayals, they weren't losses. None of it was a loss. It was like a rocket booster doing its thing, activating, and then falling away. If you've ever seen how it works when NASA sends a rocket to the moon, they've got different levels of boosters, right? So they've got the booster and it fires up and it gets that rocket to the next part and then it falls away, right? It's trash, it's empty, falls off. And then so these experiences that felt like betrayals were rocket boosters. They got me to focus more and more intently on the mind training that was in A Course in Miracles. And just from morning till night, every waking hour, just staying in that mind training. And then when those things had done their work of rocketing me to the next level of awareness, they fell away. The person fell out of my life, including my mother passed away. And so we think we wouldn't plan a series of challenges and difficulties and betrayals as our path of liberation, right? We think that's not how it would be. We think that how we would plan that pathway of liberation would be a series of blissful meditation experiences and tantric dancing or something, you know, where you have these big ahas and raise up in your vibration to extraordinary heights and things like that, right? We think that it's going to be like something in a magical, mystical movie. But most of the time, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. And so what I've learned is that encoded into our biggest challenges is our liberation, if we choose it. So if we look at the biggest challenges and we say, this is wrong, this is bad, I have failed, then we are not looking at it correctly. Now, before I had that meeting with the ministers and they told me they weren't going to license me, such a bizarre experience. About a week before that, I had gotten this very clear intuition. I was supposed to go out to lunch or dinner or something with one of my best friends after that meeting. And I got this intuition that I might not be able to go to that and I might not pass that oral panel. And I thought that was the voice of fear. You might not pass the oral panel. And I thought, of course, I'm going to pass the oral panel. My God, are you kidding me? That's going to be one of the easiest things I've ever done in my life. And I didn't take it in a way that was not honoring the importance of it, not at all. but I knew I was a minister. I already knew that. I felt it so deeply. I resisted the call for so long. For God's sakes, when I finally answered the call, I was all in. So I just didn't think it was possible. Plus, I just couldn't imagine that they could ever ask me anything that I wouldn't be prepared to give a beautiful answer to. And who would have thought that they didn't actually hear my answer? And it would have been super strange if my other friend hadn't had the exact same experience, but I had that. We could comfort each other, like, what, how did this even occur? But when that voice came in and said, you might not pass your oral, just be prepared for that, I totally thought, oh, that's some kind of weird fear thing. But it wasn't. It was a still small voice preparing me. And I'm glad now that it did, because I instantly knew, oh, you know what? Spirit told me that. The higher Holy Spirit self told me to be prepared for this. So as much as I don't like this, maybe nothing's wrong. Because maybe I needed to sit in that chair a year later, opposite that minister, ready to tell me that I wasn't minister material, to have that Kundalini fire rise up inside of me, to know I'm ordained, because I said to her, I am ordained by God and no one can take that away from me. And I knew it and I meant it. I felt it in my bones. So I needed that experience. And maybe I needed that experience to be able to tell people about it. Because every once in a while, I do tell people about it. And I don't have any shame or anything about the fact of how any of that went, because everything works together for my good. And there's nothing for me to be ashamed of, because I don't have any judgments of myself. And I don't really have any judgments of any of the ministers or how they handled any of that, because it just was spirit unfolding, my liberation. Because one of the weirdest things that happened about it all is the head of the ministerial school at that time called me into her office not long after they told me they weren't going to license me. And she said, Jennifer, I'm so sorry. We have no plan for this, because nobody thought you wouldn't pass, or that the other person wouldn't pass. We just never could imagine that either of you wouldn't pass. So we have no contingency plan. So I need to speak with Reverend Michael and I will get back to you tomorrow. I already have a plan to talk with him later tonight. We'll decide what to do and I will call you tomorrow. Now, this is going to sound amazing and strange, but she did not get back to me for 7 months. She saw me in the hallway. She passed me in the parking lot. She said hello to me, and she did not get back to me for 7 months. Strange, very strange. And yet I know that I needed that 7 months to work with my mind. And that's, of course, what I did. And my mind went back and forth going, this is crazy. This is ridiculous. How could they not? And every time I saw her in the hallway, and she would just smile and pass me, I'd be like, what is happening here? And of course, my ego just went back and forth and back and forth. But I kept righting my ship. I kept, you could say, trimming my sails, if we're going to use these ship metaphors. I kept writing my course. I kept on. What was I doing? I am awakening. I am liberating. That is what I'm doing. And all this other stuff is stuff that I'm doing while I'm doing that. And that is how I have learned to approach my life. My life is not about teaching classes. Although you could look at it from the outside and say, oh, that's what it's about. My life is about awakening while being of service to the light. And I serve the light of my being, our being, in the ways that I am directed to. And there are times when I'm directed to do things I don't really, from a personality level, feel like doing. One of my responsibilities with this ministry is I have to work with the bookkeeper. And there have been times when I couldn't find a bookkeeper and I had to do the bookkeeping myself. And I have to do the taxes and work with the accountant. And I have all kinds of responsibilities that I have no desire to put any of my time and energy into, and actually have to do a lot of that stuff. So as the leader of this ministry, because that's how it is. So I do what needs doing. I do what needs doing in order to be of service to the light while I'm awakening. And I wouldn't have it any other way. And sometimes things happen that feel like a bomb going off or something like that. But what I've come to in my life now is none of it rocks me. It doesn't rock me anymore. It's just like, oh, stuff is happening in the world. I'm not dead to it. I'm not insensitive to it, but I see it for what it is. It is all part of the awakening process. Can I be moved off of my seat? Will I be agitated? Will I be angry? It's very easy for me to get annoyed, frustrated like that momentarily. But to get really angry nowadays, I don't find that there's what's to get angry about. For me, there's nothing. So I'm grateful to be able to watch this process. And I'm also grateful to see it unfolding for the people around me that I work with and that are in the classes and the programs, seeing them also shedding the attachments, the cravings, the addictive compulsive tendencies falling away, the physical illness, the emotional illness, mental illness, these things falling away, dissolving and resolving permanently back to the root cause, as I like to say. It's actually happening for so many of us. We all start in different places. We all have different levels of willingness, different levels of faith, different levels of interest and distractions, all kinds of differences in our journey, but the journey is essentially the same. And that is, it is about remembering who we truly are, and that our brothers and sisters, particularly in this community, help us remember who we really are by showing us who they really are. Because it's so easy to see the Christ in the folks on the staff and the folks in the classes. It's so easy to see the Christ in them. And then we can tell them that we see it even when they don't. And that helps us to find it when we look in the mirror, when we look inside. Because one of the greatest fears there is in this human journey is the fear to look within. And the greatest gift I think this community offers everyone is companionship, mighty companionship, when we're looking within. I can remember when I was in my 20s going out to eat with people, and we would just complain the entire time. We would bitch and complain and moan about other people and situations and circumstances. And we would, of course, be drinking and smoking back when you could smoke in restaurants and things like that. And I have zero congruency with that now. And yet when I encounter people that's where they are, I have so much love for them. so much love for them. So I get to love myself by loving them. And that's such a gift. It's such a gift. I get to forgive myself by not judging them. And so if we are willing, willingness is the only requirement. If we are willing, we will experience tremendous, extraordinary transformation beyond anything we ever thought could be accomplished by us in this lifetime. And I'm so grateful to know that that is so. This year is starting off to be just an extraordinary year. It's not because of anything I'm seeing out there, it's because of everything that I'm feeling in here, that more and more people are interested in this liberation from spending our precious life force trying to manage things and cope with things and trying to understand things and figure things out and all of that. None of that is necessary when we are really in tune with spirit. And I think it's amazing that I could go from the place I used to live in consciousness, angry, bitter, frightened, worried, just so confused, to go from that to where I am now. It's so encouraging to me. So it also gives me the strength to be able to encourage everyone around me, because I don't meet anyone who seems to be as messed up as I used to feel. So I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful to everyone in this community for the love that they are and the love that they share and for their willingness. So grateful that we found each other. We can travel this road and do this work together, this discovery together. So I'm going to invite you to place your hands on your heart right now. And just to consider anyone that you maybe have been thinking that they should be punished, that they're evil. If you knew that you cannot liberate as long as you hold someone back from their liberation by mentally thinking these thoughts about them, would you be willing to let them go now for your own liberation, selfishly? Would you be willing to see the light of the Christ in your brothers and sisters, even in people who've done the most heinous things, most unthinkable things? Because anyone who behaves unkindly or cruelly to someone else does not know themselves. They're not in their right mind. They are offering us a cry for love to be met with love. And when we meet the cry for love with love, we are healed. When we meet the cry for love with love, we are healed. So I'm inviting you to dedicate yourself this year to answering the cry for love with love, making prayers, blessing, holding the highest and best for people that perhaps in the past you wanted to see them punished. This is the time of our liberation like never before. I'm inviting everyone to dedicate this year to liberation. You'll never regret it. You will never, ever regret it. For me, I only wish I had made that choice sooner. Never wish that I had made it later. So staying in this place of cultivating the willingness to choose liberation moment by moment, let us rest gratefully. And let's have another song from Jennifer.
There's no such thing as a mistake. Everything is divine. You don't have to be perfect. Just look around and you will find perfectly imperfect is the way we're designed. Perfectly imperfect is the way we're designed. We are here to learn and grow. We are here to love and know that perfectly imperfect is the way we're designed. Perfectly imperfect is the way we're designed. There'll be ups and downs. They'll take you for a ride. Inner compass will be your guide that will never let you down. 'Cause perfectly imperfect is the way we're designed. Perfectly imperfect is the way we're designed. We are here to learn and grow. We are here to love and know that perfectly imperfect is the way we're designed. Perfectly imperfect is the way we're designed. You don't need to doubt. You might be afraid. You don't need to worry. Just go out and play. There's no such thing as a mistake. Everything is divine. You don't have to be perfect. Just look around and you will find that perfectly imperfect is the way we're designed. Perfectly imperfect is the way we're designed. Perfectly imperfect is the way we're designed. Thank you.
Love it. So true. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Yeah. One of my favorite affirmations that I recommend sometimes to people is, I am perfect. I am perfect. Always have been, always will be. Yes. Thank you, Jennifer. All right, we're going to do that thing that we love to do here at Sundays with Spirit. We're going to go into a breakout. Angela's our pilot today, as well as our prayer. She's also one of our certified spiritual counselors and bless me, teachers in this ministry. And in your breakouts, you'll have an opportunity to talk about what I shared brought up for you in terms of what can you do or think differently? How can you transform your thinking and your spiritual practice and in order to choose liberation and to be in this great willingness. And what I ask is in the breakout, since it's not a very long period of time to just make sure everybody who would like to share gets a chance to share. So we're going to open the breakout rooms, and then when you come back, we'll have more music, and I'll see you. All right. There they go. Okay. Just reading your message, Jennifer. Thank you. Yeah, it's a time of healing. It's powerful. And I wonder if you'd like to share any more, Jennifer.
Me, Jennifer?
Yes.
Oh, well, I want to say thank you for that talk, because I am dealing with someone that I actually called evil, I think just yesterday. My dad's left my brother and I some property, and basically I've had his partner's been stealing from us, so now we're in a law case. And it was interesting because I was face to face with him, and I am like I'm such a forgiver, like my heart melts for people because I'm actually an empath. So I see the pain in people. And I sat across from him and I could feel it's overwhelming for me sometimes, especially when people, they're dark, they're struggling. And so, but what happens is sometimes I get too soft, and then I'm like, wait, especially in this law case. I mean, this guy is like really, like he blatantly is lying, and basically saying everything that I own is his, basically. I mean, not basically, it is. I mean, he's like lying. He signed an affidavit about it. So anyway, and so then I go real tough, you know what I mean? I get this like tough girl attitude, And today when we were praying, the meditation, I was just like, yes, that's the place. That's the place. The liberation is the goal. It's not the money. The money's going to come from my liberation, whether it comes from him or anyone. And it's just what's justice. You know what I mean? We think justice is getting the bad guy, right? But the justice is in your heart. It's like we're so it's like this such a big misunderstanding. Because what do we really want? Like, what do I really want from the situation? I want liberation. So thank you. It was so powerful, and yet very simple too to achieve in some ways, right?
Yes, we all when we decide that what we truly are interested in is that liberation, we all, as far as I can tell, as I've worked with, 1,000 people closely, that everybody gets what I call, it's like sandpaper on the mind. It's agitating, it's irritating, it's searing, it's so difficult. And, for you, it's this thing, right? For another person, it's their child passes away, or their child has some kind of challenge that they can't seem to really help them with, and they want to, or that, their parents raped them or something, it's everybody has their own challenges. And so there's no comparison. But if we can accept that that challenge contains the seeds of our liberation, and we're going to see it for what it is, then we are so far ahead of the game. Yeah.
So true.
Yeah, because for me, in the hardest parts of that part of my transformation, what was so difficult for me, as it is for everybody, I think, is that I can't seem to change the channel. I just can't stop obsessively, compulsively thinking about it, and thinking about it in the most negative ways, so that I feel like I'm on this hamster wheel of hot coals. And it just is, it's exhausting, and it feels so hard. So I hope you're not in that. That's good. Yeah.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Oh,
So no, I'm not at all. I've actually, no, but there's moments, but I wanted to say, so, okay. So I'm just thinking about your story, right? And you can, I love your story because it's so perfect. Like that life, that's like the song, everything's perfectly tailored for you and your growth. Absolutely 100%. And all of us. And like someone from the outside could be like, but there's, you can look at it and say, but that's not fair. You know what I'm saying? From like a,
oh yeah.
like what's going on, right? Like, and so at what point when you are in the situation, like you understand it's for you, and I know it took you time, and also calling out something that's actually wrong. Like, what is the difference? Like, how do you do both? How do you hold both?
So say it again. How do you hold, what are the two things?
So everything is perfectly for you, your spiritual growth. And there's actually people in the world who or situations that are actually not people. There's some bad people, even though we can see that they are God too, but
Right.
like, and calling them out is actually helping them. Right.
Yes. As long as you can call them out without judging them,
Oh, okay.
without attacking them,
Right.
and just sticking to this is what's happening without adding adjectives.
Mm.
It's like, I remember I went to the Women's March the day after Trump was inaugurated, which was an extraordinary experience. I'm so glad I went. And that night I was in a restaurant with a bunch of people, and CNN was on above the bar, and I could read the captions. And my friend that I was with said something about the coverage of CNN is, I don't remember exactly, but it was something like this, their coverage is, it was something about appreciating CNN. And I said, oh, CNN, they use so many adjectives like outrageous and despicable, and like that's not news. I don't want your opinions about the news. Like, if I want your opinions about the news, sure, I'm interested in people's commentaries and things like that at times, but I really just want the information from you. I don't want your opinions. And I'm old fashioned because when I was a kid, Walter Cronkite was on the news, and as it's been famously said, you never knew what he thought about anything. You never knew it. You never knew his opinions. It never came through. And so to me, if we can move towards that place of, when we're in a difficult situation, like a court case like you're in, that we don't use any of those adjectives, and we are just, here are the facts, and we can say how we feel about it. This is very upsetting to me. It doesn't feel right or fair. But to not say anything negative about the person, but just give the facts of their behavior. So that's our training, right? That's our training to move out of being drama queens about it, and also not bearing false witness against our brothers and sisters, because people behave in ways that are evil, but I don't believe that people are evil. But I do believe that because of the way they have interpreted things throughout this life and previous lifetimes, they have come to act in ways that are appear to be evil, and certainly appear to be despicable and destructive, and unkind, but to not attack the person for what they do or say. And that takes a great willingness. It takes a great willingness to move out of the place of just throwing BS around, you know. It takes a great willingness because it's so popular, it's so accepted in our world. I had an experience where I had a date with a guy, and which went well. We had a great date. And then we were talking on the phone before the next date, and he said that oh, I don't know, this was it the handyman that his landlord hired or something was an a-hole. And when he said that, I was just like, oh, this is not my guy. My guy would not be saying that to me. You know, I could see if we'd had a few dates maybe, and he was like, I'm so pissed at this guy. He's acting like such an a-hole. That's different from saying this person is an a-hole that you barely know. Like, so let's not bear false witness against our brothers and sisters, and let's be the living demonstration as much as we possibly can be of what Jesus taught, you know, which is to turn the other cheek. And to me, to turn the other cheek is not to offer the other cheek to be slapped, but it's to offer a different view of things, to see it differently. And to be willing to see it differently takes tremendous willingness a lot of the time. But then once we cultivate that capacity, it's not hard anymore. It's not hard. Might be a little challenging sometimes, but it's not hard. So everything is perfect. You know, everything's a cry for love or an expression of love, right? And even the cry for love is an expression of love. That's how I look at it. And so we're here to be truly helpful, which is to answer the cry for love. So they're giving us a chance to do what we're here to do, to fulfill our purpose in this world. So what's the problem? Is another way to look at it. And still, on a personality level, we feel annoyed and frustrated, and things are wrong, and it's not right, and we wish it were different. But are we going to invest our precious life force in energizing what we don't want, when nothing good will come from it? No, we are not going to do that. We have enough sovereignty to not fall in that hole. Or we might trip over the hole, you know, and fall down and skin our knee, and then we have to rest for a day and think about it, right? Sure. Sure. But we're not going to fall in that hole and then start complaining about the hole. Yeah. Thank God. I felt like I used to just crawl from hole to hole, you know? So what do you think, Angela? Would you like to share anything? And Jennifer, if you'd like to share anything more.
Well, that's so cool. I love that you just got that. I loved hearing that response. And you know, it's cool because Jennifer, I thought your opening song could be like the theme song for Masterful Living. I was like, it was such a healing, it's such a healing song. But the words, and you know, because now I heard your second song, because the words aren't with me, but I was like, oh, welcome, you're welcome here. I was like, oh, we gotta have that like theme song. It's a beautiful, it would be a beautiful theme song behind like testimonial video, you know, montage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and just, you know, I'm reflecting on being in this community for a decade, or now I'm in 11 years, and just the liberation I've experienced, and how this one insight is still with me, that it's the way that it's unloving for us to not choose it. So once the dial is turned up, where it's like, I love myself, how can I love myself more? I want to love myself as fully as possible. Then we wouldn't, then we would be very attuned to the holes, and we don't fall in there, because we love ourselves. We don't wish for ourselves to lose that precious time. And then yet I still have my daily practices, which aren't the hot coals anymore. They're not that strong, but still, actually, I think it takes a little more diligence in some way, because it's not so intense. Like my daughter just being a 4-year-old, and how I'm noticing I'm responding to her in a punitive way sometimes. And I feel like, okay, I got to watch those podcasts on the attraction to guilt and punishment, because I'm playing into that in almost unconsciously. And I'm like, oh, I'm not interested in that, because she's at this age where my love for her is so important that she'll say, I'm sorry, mama. I'm so sorry, mama. I got you mad. I'm like, oh dear. But it's the perfect reflection of love, saying, do we have to be unloving to each other ever? Like, is it ever necessary? Because I don't want to lose your love, mama. She just told me, she's like, I don't like when people get mad at me. I don't like that. It's so precious and innocent. So thank you.
Yes. Nobody likes it when somebody gets mad at us. Yeah. Justine is such a sweetie pie. What a great teacher she is. All right. So we're back from the breakout, and I am interested to know, how was the breakout? Was it good? Excellent. If you had an aha, or if you made a decision about how you're going to do things moving forward, if you have a declaration of your willingness or anything like that that you'd like to share, please post it in the chat. I truly am interested, so thank you. All right, here's what we're going to do now. We're going to make a couple of short announcements, and then we're going to have another song from Jennifer, and then we're going to have another prayer from Angela, and we'll be on our way. So announcements. Masterful Living registration is open for about a week more. This is my year-long program, and it comes with so many bonuses. I think we counted it up the other day. It's like $1,300 at least, and I've got some things I think I'm going to add this year. So Masterful Living is the year-long program. It's a really deep dive into living A Course in Miracles. And it is all about transforming your way of experiencing the world, so you can offload the ego identification and move into that true loving spirit identification. People transform their relationships for sure. And they also, many people have all kinds of healings, just from financial healings, emotional healings, mental healings. And we're all going at a different pace. We have different unique experiences, and it's an extraordinary group of people who really come to love each other dearly. And that is so precious, to be able to walk alongside people that you feel you can be completely transparent, open, and honest with. And so Masterful Living registration is open for another week. And I would also like to say thank you to everyone who tithes to this ministry, who donates to this ministry. Your donations make it possible for us to put on free offerings like today's Sundays with Spirit, and forgiveness workshops and other classes and things, the podcast, all of these things that we offer for free, the daily inspiration. It's made possible by your donations. And one of the easiest ways to make a donation is to sign up for the A Course in Miracles text messages. You get a text message every day of inspiration, and you can donate whatever amount you like, one time or on a monthly recurring donation. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Jennifer, first of all, you have to tell us when and where we might be able to get that first song that you sang.
Hi, so I'm finishing it soon, and I'm planning to release a new project that I'm working on right now in spring. So I will keep you posted. And it's always good to, if you're on Spotify, you can follow me there, and I'll send it to you too.
Oh, great,
Yeah.
great. So, and do you have a website?
Yes, jenniferpaskow.com.
There you go. All right, so people know where they can find your music. And will you give us another song, please?
Yes. So I just wanted to share really quick. I wasn't sure which song I wanted to share. And when we did the breakout room and we were listening to Jennifer speak, I sing this song. It's a very old song of mine, and I wrote it for somebody, and then it kind of like morphed into like, then I sang it at my parents' funerals, separately. And then I would sing it when I would be in hospitals singing for people. I would imagine that I was spirit, like just a channel, just singing it to the person, but I never have sang it to somebody that actually is hard for me, like it's called Beautiful, I Remember You. So I'm dedicating this to this one person in my life who's giving me a challenge, so it's just beautiful, this reminder. And I know it, but it's such a beautiful reminder. Jennifer, thank you for today. Just that for our liberation to like, let that go, it's like, anyway, here we go.
I want to say, but the thoughts and the fears keep getting in my way. Every time I want to feel you, you are there. Every time I want to hear you, you are there. In my mind, I go there often to get a little of you inside
Ah, so glad you're here today, Jennifer. So glad every single one of you is here today. Thank you. It's all inspire me. Ah, well, we are blessed and we are a blessing. This is what I know. Angela, will you carry us home with a prayer?
Yes, thank you. Okay, taking a breath and just grateful for the nourishment we have received here today. Grateful for all the reminders and just grateful to be in this vibration of love and light and liberation. We are grateful to go forward this week and take an intention with us, take what we've heard and learned and felt here and spread it out in the world. How grateful we are, how blessed we are. We're letting the healing be and we're sharing it with all. With gratitude, we let it be. And so it is. Amen.
And so it is. Amen. Thank you, Angela, for your service. Thank you, Glazy. Thank you, everyone. So appreciate you. Thank you, Jennifer. Mwah. Much love.